Hey guys, happy almost Halloween. It's hard to believe that we've pretty much got 2020 behind us, but for most of us, that might actually be a good thing. With 2021 on the horizon, though, today's Tax Talk Tuesday is all about numbers. Hot off the press, the IRS has released Revenue Procedure 20 45, which gives us our 2021 inflation adjustments and tax tables. So basically, all the numbers that we'll use for next year. That might not sound like the most exciting thing in the world, but these numbers govern a lot of the planning that we'll be doing next year. And let me just start off by saying that there are a lot of numbers, and a lot of numbers have or will change. Tax credits, exclusions, exemptions, deductions, pretty much all of them had some form of a modest shift. But to avoid putting you and me to sleep, let's just look at some of the highlights. So first up, on the personal side of things, the upper limits of each income tax bracket, so we all know what income tax brackets are. Basically, the upper limits have all increased modestly from what they were or are here in 2020. I'm not going to read these numbers back to you, but the important thing to know here is that if you were in a certain tax bracket last year, most likely you're still going to be in the same tax bracket if your income is roughly the same thing. But you may just be able to slide a little bit more income into each bracket next year. The rates, though, in each bracket have not changed. Also, on the individual side of things, the standard deductions, and this isn't for folks who itemize their deductions, but the standard deduction is going to increase a little bit too. So standard deduction for married individuals filing joint returns or surviving spouses in 2021 will be $25,100. For heads of household, that number is going to be $18,800. And for unmarried individuals or married individuals that file separately, the standard deduction is $12,550. So again, modest shift from last year. In 2020 or this year, these amounts were $24,800, $18,650, and $12,400 respectively. So just to recap, for married filing jointly, $25,100; for heads of household, $18,800; and for single or married filing separately, $12,550. Next, for clients who use a gifting strategy, the annual gift tax exclusion is actually one of the few things that will not change in 2021. That amount, the annual exclusion amount, is going to remain at $15,000. So in other words, individuals can gift $15,000 to another individual without paying a federal gift tax on that amount. The biggest number in Revenue Procedure 20 45 is the basic exclusion amount for calculating the unified credit against the estate tax. That mouthful there is really what we would call the estate tax exemption amount. And in 2021, this amount is slated to increase to $11.7 million per individual, and that is up from $11.58 million in 2020. So if you've watched some of our previous videos, you'll know that oversimplified, this $11.7 million is the amount of wealth that an individual can transfer out of their estate at their passing without paying a federal death tax on that amount. That means through the use of portability, married couples are going to be able to transfer $23.4 million using portability in 2021. But of course, we don't necessarily know which direction Washington, D.C. is going to go on this. So this is something that we will keep an eye on. Different proposals have been floated around out there depending on, again, which way the winds in Washington, D.C. blow. So for now, 2021, we're expecting to have an $11.7 million exemption amount. That could change depending on what happens. Switching over a little bit for business owners, first thing that we would want you to know is that the Section 179 deduction amount for tax years beginning in 2021 is going to slightly increase to $1,050,000, up from $1,040,000 in 2020. And the phase-out threshold is going to bump up to 2.62 million, up from 2.59 million. So if you watch last week's video a little bit later on down the road, just know that the numbers that I mentioned in that video have bumped up a little bit since then. So don't tell me that I'm incorrect or something. I technically would be wrong. But just know it was recorded before the exemption amount or the deduction amounts were released for 2021. Business owners will also want to know that the qualified business income threshold, so this is the income generated by certain trades or services, basically these amounts are going to increase a little bit to the threshold amounts. So for individuals, the QBI deduction phase out, if you will not begin until you reach $164,900 of income. And that's the same for heads of household, so $164,900. For married individuals filing joint returns, that phase out will not begin until $329,800. And for married individuals filing separate returns, that amount in 2021 will be $164,925. I believe I have these numbers in front of me here. In the current numbers for these phase outs in 2020 are $163,300 for individuals, heads of household, and married filing separately. So it's a modest increase there, a little bit more, about $1,600 increase there. And for married filing jointly, in 2020 it was $326,600, and so now it's $329,800. So again, a little bit of a bump there too. So overall, as you can see, a lot of numbers will change, but much of what we're doing and the tax laws and provisions that we're using, they're staying the same, at least right now. So if you have questions about what these number changes mean, or maybe you want to know if a certain provision that I didn't mention has changed, just let us know. Happy to talk about it. You know, there's quite a few numbers in the revenue procedure that came out. But happy to share that with you, or happy to just talk through whatever your particular question is. As always though, guys, just wanted to say thanks for watching. Check out some of our other videos if you have questions on the QBI deduction, net operating loss, Section 179 or bonus depreciation. So getting some good material there. But overall, really just hope you guys have a great week, a very happy Halloween if you celebrate, and stay tuned for more 2021 updates as they become available. We'll share them with you here. Thanks, guys.